Hi everyone, welcome to this practice. Today's practice is actually a sequence put together by Mind Body Green. It's 8 poses to help cervical spine and neck. So really focusing on opening up the shoulders and the upper back body. Now it'd be great if you have some blocks for this practice today. We're going to use it for a couple of moves. So if you have some blocks or something that can just elevate you, where we're going to be doing a child's pose with our elbows elevated, then we're going to do a restorative fish at the end with our with a heart opener, so support beneath our spine. So that'd be fantastic. If you don't have blocks, no worries, you can still do this, but I really encourage you getting some. These are a little bit more expensive, these are cork, but there are some really lightweight foam blocks that you can get online for like $15 at the most for a set. All right, so just a little side note, I did take these a little bit out of order. I think they started with a really intense one, so I took it a little bit out of order, but for the most part, we're gonna be doing every pose, but just in a little different sequence. Another side note, I'm going to have a timer going for us. So we're spending the same amount of time in each pose and on each side. Now, that being said, if you find you're super tight on one side versus the other, take a mental note of that as we go through our practice and come back to that tight side and spend a little bit more time there till you feel evened out. Okay? So let's go ahead and get started. Before I hit my timer, let's set our blocks over to the side. I'm going to put them right next to each other on that medium setting. If that's too intense for you, you can always take them down to the lower setting, but let's just set them aside for now. We're just gonna do a quick shoulder warm-up. All right, so this warm-up's just gonna be about 2 minutes. Come to a comfortable seat. What we do in a lot of practices are shoulder rolls. So begin to roll the shoulders, nice long spine coming into the breath. This is gonna be less of a flow, not such a flowy practice, but more we're gonna just transition from pose to pose, which is cool. I love to change it up. So I love getting inspiration from you guys and from other resources like Mind Body Green. All right, take your hands to the side. We're gonna take the right arm up and over, side body stretch. Make sure the core is engaged here, just getting into that habit. Left arm up and over, side body stretch. Good. Right up and over. The article didn't have a warm-up in it, and I just prefer to go into these more intense stretches with our bodies just a little warmed up. So we're doing some dynamic stretching beforehand. Awesome. Go ahead and interlace the fingers, press the palms away, and then press the arms up towards the sky. You can allow the gaze to follow the hands, and then bend the elbows, bring the hands to the back of the head. This is a great neck strengthening move. You're pressing the hands into the palms while opening up the chest, pulling the elbows back. See, I am gonna do what the article suggested, but I just couldn't help but put my own little flow in here, right? All right, tilt to the right, like a teapot. Back to center, tilt to the left. So our next move, we're coming to child's pose with a shoulder opener. Let's make our way to all fours. We're gonna bring our elbows to the blocks. I'm gonna bring mine to the lowest setting. Elbows come to the blocks, palms come together, melt your head down, and you can rest your forehead on those blocks, or you can allow the head to kind of sink below the blocks. Whatever feels best here, just looking for that nice chest heart opener. And a side note, I'm in more of a puppy pose here. My hips are elevated rather than sitting back on my heels. Find the variation that works for you. You're still getting the same benefits for the upper body no matter what you're choosing. The thumbs come back towards the neck, really stretching through the heart. Breathing into that space that you're creating. See, even this is a pretty intense posture. Focus on that breath. We have about 30 more seconds here. Inhaling and exhaling. The next thing we're gonna do, you don't have to go there now, but I'm just gonna tell you, we're gonna move those blocks aside. We're gonna gently drop to the belly, and we're gonna take our arms out to a T, coming to that intense chest opener, shoulder opener I've offered you guys before. So go ahead, slide the blocks away, come to the chest. One little change they mentioned is flipping the palms up towards the sky in that T. Then I'm gonna bring left hand to the ground, roll on to that right side, and then if you want, you can clasp the hands, but that's really, really an intense variation. Maybe you can try that out. If not, you're totally cool here. Or if you want to grab this left foot here for a quad and hip flexor stretch, you can. But interlacing those fingers is going to be a more intense variation. So again, find what works for you. What we're looking for is that nice opening in the right pectoral. So wherever you landed, breathe into that. You can also use a block beneath the head here. I should probably mention that if you're having any kind of cervical neck pain, having that support and keeping the spine nice and neutral might feel better in your body. When the buzzer goes off, we're just going to switch over to the other side. So just finding the same thing that you found over on this side. So gently making your way there. You can shift your block a little bit to support the head. Again, I always teach it with tenting the fingers out and then rolling, but they say to flip your palm up towards the sky, and that's so you can find that bind. It's a little bit different rotation for the shoulder. So if you have to keep your palm facing down, that back palm, that's okay. Otherwise, find that variation that works for you. Maybe you interlace the fingers. That assures you're getting a really deep shoulder stretch on both the right and the left side. If you chose to keep your palm facing down, you can always grab that top leg. Drive the knee down, looking for that quad stretch. That also keeps the shoulder nice and open. It's almost as if that foot that you're holding onto, or if you're holding onto a strap here, it anchors down that right arm. The shoulder keeps it nice and open. You got about 20 more seconds here. Just breathe into this. I'm going to tell you where we're heading next, just so you know where we're going. We're going to come up to seated, and we're going to find cow face pose. You can do this with a strap or without. I'm going to do it without today. Good. Release this. Gently make your way to front. You can make your way up to seated. We're going to take right arm up to the sky. Left arm swims around, almost like you're putting yourself in handcuffs, and comes to the spine. Right arm comes down. While you're here, you're actively pressing the head into the hand or the wrist that is touching the head while it's trying to reach your spine. Maybe your fingers interlace here, maybe not. I'm just gonna flip around real quick and just show you what this looks like from behind. So it could be here, or if you have that flexibility to grab the fingertips, you can. Key is we're gazing forward, we're pressing the head into the arm. So not only are we getting a great shoulder and chest opener, underarm opener, we're also doing a little bit of neck strengthening by actively pressing the head into the arm. Helps to promote nice, tall, beautiful posture. About 10 more seconds here, and then we'll slowly transition to the other side. If those hands feel super far away from one another, you can always Use this strap here, like I mentioned. If you're having a hard time getting the elbow to point up to the sky, this is another alternative, just gently using the opposite hand to press that arm up to the ceiling. Otherwise, we're gonna just bring this arm up and over, right hand comes back, see where you're at. You might find it a lot easier on this side, or vice versa, might be a lot harder. And that's where you take note. Wow, this side was so much harder for me. I'm gonna come back to this after class, and I'm just gonna spend another 30 seconds or another minute on this pose. Sometimes you just require a little bit more time on one side versus the other. Helps you to open up and find a little bit more space to even your body out. So these are intense postures, guys. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to set the timer, to make sure that we're even and equal on both sides. Good, you got about 20 more seconds here. Then we're gonna come to a standing forward fold. Since it took us a few more seconds to transition from that other pose, being on our belly, to the right side, let's go ahead and release it now. We're going to come to stand. So come all the way to stand. Good, go ahead, inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. So make sure you're hinging from the hips, coming into our forward fold. Soften those knees as you come down. Crown of the head reaches down towards the floor, gazes through the legs. You don't want to create tension in the neck. Go ahead, swim the arms around. You can fold the arms behind the back, or you can find a heart opener. So if the fingers are interlaced and the palms are away like mine are, it's not going to be as intense as if you clench those hands together. That's the most advanced variation. Either way, work on getting those knuckles up towards the sky. Again, relax the neck. I just caught myself holding tension in the neck, so I'm just going to say it again. And then maybe as another additional reminder, we shake our head no, nice and loose. Maybe nod your head yes, just a gentle, subtle nod. And then we just hold this posture, breathing. I'm just going to take a peek at what's next. We got about 14 seconds here. Okay, we're coming to shoulder opener at wall. So roll it up. Make your way to an open wall. We're gonna bring our forearms parallel, palms to the wall, forearms parallel, and then we're gonna walk our feet back and start hinging forward. So this is very challenging for me, just to share. Keeping my forearms parallel in this position is very challenging for me. But find a place where you feel the pose, you feel the opener in the chest. I'm just resting my forehead against the wall here. Trying to keep my elbows glued to the wall. Breathe. As you open up a little bit more, maybe you find a little bit more of an arch in the spine. A little more opening in the chest. Got about 15 more seconds here. And then we're gonna make our way down to the mat. So go ahead, release that. Roll the shoulders, make your way down. We're gonna thread the needle, which we've done before. So let's start with the right hand, bring the right hand up, and then thread it all the way through, coming onto the shoulder. My hips are in puppy pose, but once again, you can interchangeably use that child's pose if that's more comfortable for you. Having those hips lifted just makes me feel like I and deeper in the upper body stretch. Allows me a little more leverage to twist, a little more space, but try both out and see what works for you. Breathe into the back body. Release tension where you can. If you're maybe gripping the floor, holding tension in that left shoulder, see if you can release that. Let it go with each exhale. Think of creating space in the upper back body behind the shoulder blades. You're also getting a nice twist in the thoracic spine. Go ahead, transition to the other side. Left hand comes through onto the left shoulder. Next, we're going to be coming to a seated spinal twist. We have still another minute or so on this one, a little bit less than a minute. Making sure we're not putting pressure on the head here, and the left ear is away from the left shoulder. We're not clenching the jaw or the brow. I'm going to even relax my feet. I have my my toes curled. I'm going to relax those toes. Come onto the tops of the feet. Got about 20 more seconds here. Go ahead, begin to unravel now, so we have enough time to transition to our bottoms. Cross right leg over left, knees are bent. Take left arm, cross it. You can either hug in that right knee or cross it over that right knee, finding a nice spinal twist here. Try not to grip or pull really hard in this one. Key is to have a nice long spine. Keep your gaze back. Keep your shoulders relaxed and away from the ears. If you feel more at ease here, stay there. If you need more, come here. Breathe. A few more breaths here. We've got about 30 seconds before we switch sides. And you guys will have to let me know what you think about doing this timed practice. Does it stress you out? Is the beeping like freaking you out? Or do you like it? Do you feel more even? I just like changing it up. I never get bored when we change it up, right? Go ahead, unravel. We're transitioning to the other side. So that right leg stays down, cross left over right, hug that knee in. So similar to half floor to the fishes, I'm just keeping both legs in here. You do have the option to extend that bottom leg if that feels more comfortable in your body. If you want to go in for the more intense variation, you can bring that right elbow in front of the left knee. But once again, keep lightness in these fingertips, so nice light grip on the floor. Both hips are anchored, shoulders are away from the ears, spine is long and neutral. Breathe into the space. So the next pose we're going to be coming to is a restorative fish pose. So once again, we'll be using our blocks. This is one of my favorite restorative poses and heart openers, but it can take a second to like figure out and get into position. So we'll take some time in this one. We're not gonna rush in this one, so don't feel like you have to scramble to get yourself set up. The timer will go off while we're in it, but you're more than welcome to stay there as long as you want because it'll be our last pose of the session. Didn't that go fast? About 10 more seconds here, breathing. Awesome, go ahead, release that. Grab your blocks. So this is gonna look like this on our mat. We're gonna take this block, remember your block has different settings. I'm gonna take it to that medium setting, and then I'm gonna use a block for back here. This will go beneath my head. This is gonna go between my shoulder blades. So this is what takes a second. Figuring out where to put this block, how high you want this block. I like to snuggle it between my shoulder blades. It looked like in the article they had it beneath their shoulder blades, so maybe play around with that. See what your preference is. You might have to wiggle around. Maybe it actually feels good to move around and dig that block into those muscles that are between your shoulders, rhomboids. You got the trapezius muscles up here, latissimus muscles. So finding a place where you can be more relaxed and at ease. Now, if you don't have blocks, it takes a little more work to be in this position because you don't have something to lay back on, but you can still do it. This is a fish pose. So I'm going to show you my arms. Forearms are parallel on either side, palms face down, heart stays lifted, head can drop back. Once again, you can use the block here. Say you only have one block, you just want to use the block behind your head. You can use that here to make it a little bit more restorative. Or you could bring that block between the shoulder blades and stack a couple pillows for your head. I just don't like to leave my neck hanging out, especially if we're having cervical spine issues. So your spine's made up of your cervical spine, your thoracic, and your lumbar. So cervical is these upper vertebrae that make up your neck and upper spine. Thoracic is more mid, and then lumbar is lower. So once again, like I said, you can stay in your restorative fish pose as long as you like. If you're feeling pretty good in this, you can play with the legs coming to Sukhasana, or legs crossed, or legs extended. If you're in that unsupported fish pose, you're gonna get tired. It's not very restorative. You can go ahead and come down to the floor and take a few moments in Shavasana. Either way, the light in me honors the light in each and every one of you and the work that you're doing every single day. Namaste.